Hey, just a real big PSA before we start this video. This is going to be game footage of Fortnite, but you probably shouldn't play Fortnite right now because the anti-cheat that they use is also shared by Apex, and an Apex, I guess, esports player got hacked mid-game, and so people now think that the anti-cheat is probably compromised in some way until it is fixed up. There is a list of all of the games which use it if you are concerned, and more information in the description below. But anyway, let's get on with the video. Hello and welcome to another episode of a weekly Waypoint. Today we are playing another custom game mode that I found in Fortnite. This one is an attempt at a first-person shooter, so we are playing Call of Fortnite, everyone. We finally made it. As you may or may not be able to tell through the footage in this video, it's imperfect, it's not the best. And if you're ever wondering why they haven't made a first-person mode of Fortnite, maybe this is why. That being said, I did play for a decent chunk of time, and I did have a pretty good time while I was playing. Oh, also there was this weird XP bug, where I think I was like level 22 or something, and it started me at like level -1, and then it leveled me all the way back up to where I was supposed to be. But hey, maybe what I should really do is pretend that I've discovered some super secret method of gaining super fast levels of XP and then farm all of those views. Speaking of farming views, we had a video that did pretty well on the channel this week. I made a video about a game called Brighter Shores, which, for those of you who have not seen the video, is basically the spiritual successor to RuneScape made by the person who originally made RuneScape. When this was announced, I was in work. I was having a very bad day, and it cheered me right up. It did. Turns out all you need in your life is video games. Who'd have thunk it? And I had an itch that could not be scratched until the next day of I knew I wanted to make that video. I knew I wanted that video to be exactly what it was, and in a rare turn of events, the passion I had for a video and the amount of work I put into it actually turned out with some decent view numbers, which I'm pretty happy with. So if you are a newcomer to the channel, hi! You should probably be warned that this is a variety channel, and while I do RuneScape content, and I do content sometimes about upcoming games, I also do a whole ton of other things. I do YouTube entirely wrong, and I'm happy with it. The way you succeed on YouTube is you find a niche, and you make your channel entirely about that thing, but my brain does not work that way, at least not for free, and so that's why my channel is a bit of a mess, but I have fun. We all have fun here. At least I hope we all have fun here. Maybe some people do not have fun here. If you don't have fun here, I'm very sorry. We also had a video this week which did not do the numbers, but that's fine. Most of them don't. But it's the Batman video. For those of you who don't know, I put out a video called Thoughts on Batman, and it's basically me finally starting to read through my entire collection of physical Batman comics, of which I have 83 volumes, most of which I've never read, and I go through it and I kind of analyze it as I go, and I had a really fun time making it, but it was also a lot of work. That video turned out to be a lot longer than I thought it was originally going to be, so if that sounds like something which interests you, go and give it a look. It's not even something I would say you really have to have read the comic for. Obviously you get more out of it if you have read the comic, but if you haven't, I talk through most of the plot as it goes anyway. I will be doing more of those videos in the hopes that, I'll try and title them in such a way that any single one of them could stand out on their own outside of any particular series, despite it technically being part of one. So hopefully at some point it'll have a breakout hit and I will become famous. No, that's not what we're aiming for. No, I must admit I have been obsessing a little bit over views and analytics this week, and it's always important to draw myself back and remind myself why I do this, and it's not for that. But also, you know how I just said I do YouTube entirely wrong? I discovered a little tab in the analytics page which is like, where people find you, videos that your videos get recommended on. And you may remember a few weeks ago there was a Nintendo Direct, and I made a dumb little like 16-second meme video of these two cats. You probably know the cats, and they're talking about like, oh, what do you want to see in a Direct? I want to see Dragon Quest. But I thought you hadn't played most of Dragon Quest, and it's like, yes, I want to see Dragon Quest. That's pretty much the meme. And And most of my views at the minute over the last few weeks have just been coming from other cat meme videos. And it just reminded me of like, oh, that's right, YouTube doesn't work the way that I want it to, or it doesn't really work the way that I work with it. It thinks I'm gonna make a particular kind of video and push those viewers from other types of videos towards mine. So for instance, it's like, oh hey, your cat video is doing pretty well, so you know, we're gonna draw all the people who like cat meme videos to your channel. And you know, I guess the way I would succeed is make every single video a cat meme video and probably get a decent amount of views for the 2 or 3 more weeks that those cat meme videos are funny, and then inevitably drop off. While we're talking about the channel and making videos though, I am once again in the position of recording more content than I ever have the time to actually edit together videos of, and it's swamping my hard drive and me feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And I have just started, I'll talk more about this in a minute, but I have just started playing Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince, and I've been going back and forth on whether to make a video out of it, because when I play games, part of what I enjoy when I play through games is taking clips and being humorous while I am playing a game, and kind of, you know, talking to myself and laughing, I guess, and then putting it up and hoping other people play along. But lately there have been a few games which I've kind of been holding back, of like, I won't record, this will just be for me, I'll just like quietly play this like a normal person would, not talking to themselves. And I was going back and forth on whether I want Dragon Quest, you know, Monsters: The Dark Prince to be one of those games. And ultimately I have recorded at least a video's worth of clips, and I think what I'm going to do, which I don't normally do this, but I think I'm going to put that video out. I'm not going to put a 1 on the end of it, and I'm going to see what it does. And 90% chance it'll get under 10 views, and then I might just stop recording content for it. But then if there's, you know, if it gets like 20, 30, 40 views, then I'll keep making more of them. I'm a little bit hesitant to do this because I've never been like a view goals driven channel. I've never chased like, oh, I will put the successful things out only, because that's not really what I'm trying to do here. But if I need to prioritize the videos that I am making for my own sanity, in terms of just recording too much, not having time to edit it, and feeling overwhelmed, then maybe I will do it in a way which is also beneficial for the YouTube channel. Again, though, I don't expect to ever be successful because of the way I do things, and that's not going to change. Like, I did put some thought into, like, what if I were to split up my channels? What if I were to say, okay, everyone, channel update. This channel is going to be for gameplay and video games, and then I'm going to have another channel where I do all my thoughts on things about shows and stuff. Or, like, it would probably be better to go even nicher and be like, here's my Doctor Who channel, or I guess my sci-fi channel, and here's my anime channel for like Bleach and Naruto and Attack on Titan and shit. And like, but I don't want to do that, because then when I fall off of those topics as well, it will become blindingly obvious there will be like 6 months of no content on those individual channels, and that's also probably going to lend itself to feeling even more overwhelmed. I did not mean to spend this weekly Waypoint just talking about the way I do YouTube, but that is kind of what this is becoming. So I am going to put a pin in that, but that is what has been going through my brain this week. If you have any thoughts regarding any of that as a viewer, feel free to let me know. But remember, we are coming at this from the perspective of, I do this in my free time. I actually contribute a lot of my free time to this, but I do it for fun, and if it stops being fun, it stops being done. And I would love to have more time to spend on, for instance, making that Batman video more video-y, like including more panels and more visual representations of the things that I am talking about. But that shit takes longer than you might expect. Okay, so I mentioned Dragon Quest Monsters: The Dark Prince. That is a video game that I bought yesterday of the time of recording because it's on sale and I like Dragon Quest. And also, I just, you know, following up from events of last week, I was like, I just want to have more, like, Akira Toriyama art in my life, and I really love his monster designs, so... Oh, sorry, I got a bit. So there was some of that in there too. And also I kind of want to reward Square Enix for porting or translating this game for the West, because apparently they have not done so for previous Dragon Quest Monsters titles. But I'm not going to pretend to be entirely altruistic. Mostly I just went, Dragon Quest game on sale. I'll buy Dragon Quest. I've previously said that I would rather wait for that to be ported to a platform where it does not run at 20 frames a second or have massive stuttering issues in certain areas, but I decided to suck up my pride and also face reality because that game got so little marketing, it's probably not going to get much more. But how do I feel about the damn game? I'm not far in. I've just got to... I've forgotten the name of the place, but basically the second zone in the game. It is my first time playing a Dragon Quest Monsters game, and I find it really charming. I'm really enjoying, again, what I came here for, which was, you know, cute monster taming romp. But I have a few nitpicks, and it might just be because I am so early into the game, but I don't really like the gameplay loop so far of grind until you can get past the next tournament match. And then when you've beaten that tournament match, grind until you can do the next tournament match. That's so basic, and I wish there were more story beats in the middle. There are story beats, but mostly after finishing tournaments. And again, I've just got to the third tournament bout, so it might drastically change, but that is the layout of the game as far as I can see. Now, it's not as bad as I'm making it sound. I would say the first 3/4 of like, oh, I need to go and level my monsters up is a treat, because it is mostly spent exploring the new area, catching the new monsters. You know, the seasons change, so the zones change as time goes on, so like there's always something, well, it's not always something, but for a little while there's something fresh to look at. But ultimately, it does get to a point where I'm like, okay, I really need my monsters to be like this level, and it's kind of just a grind. And when you think about it, that's kind of what the original Pokemon games were, so maybe I'm complaining about nothing, and maybe, like I said, it will get more complex as time goes on, but also the story hasn't exactly blown my pants off so far. It's been interesting and a little bit different, but it's also... yeah, it's just fine. So far, that game is a solid 6 out of 10, and I'm hoping as I continue to play, that rating will improve. And when I say 6 out of 10, by the way, that's not me casting it into the fires of don't play this game. I think 6 out of 10s are worth playing, just not usually worth finishing. Now, last week I mentioned that I had kind of become fixated on the world of Ice and Fire, George R.R. Martin's Game of Thrones world that he has made, because a little fella, I don't know why I'm calling him a little fella, a guy called Alt-Shift-X put out some videos, not some videos, a single video about Jon Snow, and that was apparently enough to relight my fires of, oh shit, I love that universe, and I talked about this last week. I'm bringing it up again to mention, A, I'm still on that bandwagon, B, it's got me thinking about the genre, and how I've mentioned before, probably on this show, I talk a lot. Chances are, throw a dart at the dartboard, the dart is going to land somewhere on I've talked about this topic. I don't like post-apocalyptic fiction, at least not like immediate post-apocalypse where it's like, you know, modern day and it's zombies and it's just bleak and miserable and sad. Like, I tried the Last of Us show, and it's wonderful and beautiful and interesting, don't get me wrong, it is really interesting, but it's also like a little too bleak and, you know, pushed me away for that reason. I can't even do Fallout, fam. I tried Fallout 4, I was like, this game has interesting lore, this game is a Bethesda RPG and I enjoy Bethesda RPGs, and then I went, it's just bumming me out though. And then I contrast that with, oh, I'm in love with Grimdark universes, and Grimdark comes in many flavors, but the flavors which I like are the world of Ice and Fire and Warhammer 40k I'm getting into at the minute. I'm also still obsessed with Attack on Titan, even like almost a year after it finished, or maybe more. I would consider that a Grimdark universe. And, you know, in terms of like previous interests I'm not really thinking about right now, the Diablo universe is very grimdark. Give me a world which is, you know, horrible to live in, a protagonist which goes down a dark, irredeemable path. Like, give me a world which is just full to the brim of suffering and pain, and I will eat it the fuck up. So why do I not like post-apocalyptic worlds? Surely that's similar, but no. And then, because there were more tangents to what I was saying, the other thing I was going to say in regards to consuming all this Song of Ice and Fire content is I really want to reread the books. And that's a problem because I also really want to rewatch all of Bleach and rewatch all of Naruto and rewatch all of Attack on Titan and rewatch the Game of Thrones show. And I also want to reread all the Darren Shan books again. And I've just got to this point in my life where there is so many stories I want to re-experience. But I'm keenly aware that there are also so many narratives which I want to read through or watch through or play through that are also extremely long, like the Final Fantasy games and the Dragon Quest games, and I'm still reading through the Wheel of Time series, and I want to read through all of the Stormlight archive when Brandon Sanderson is done with that. And I'm just kind of going, I'm getting to the point, and I think I'm getting to this point a lot sooner than I should be, but I'm getting to this point of, I don't have enough life. I don't have enough life to experience all of these fucking stories, and that's probably just me projecting insecurities about my eventual death one day, and how soon that may or may not be. Hey, it's me, I've got generalized anxiety refreshed at the minute because I'm talking about that shit with someone and they're like, oh, you got it bad. Death lives rent-free in my brain, is basically what I'm trying to say. We don't really need to get into that, though. I'm sure 60 years from now I'll look back on this. Yeah, I'm gonna live to 90. I'm fucking... or I guess 88. I'm fucking... Yeah, we're doing this. I'm gonna be like, oh my god. You know, I won't even remember this. To be fair, I'll be like, didn't I used to do some kind of YouTube thing? I don't remember. But if I were to remember this, I'd be like, oh, there was so much time for stories. What are you talking about? And I think one of the reasons I feel this way right now is because I try and experience so many long-running things alongside each other that I never focus on one long enough to complete it in a reasonable amount of time. But oh my god, put me in a hyperbolic time chamber and just let me read books. That would be so nice. Although if you told me I could only read books, I would probably lose my mind because once again, A-D, Hizzle-D, but yeah, that's what's been rattling around in my noggin this week. If that seemed like a flurry of thoughts to you, I do apologize, but that's what you come here for, right? What do you come here for? Hopefully I entertain you in some way. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Weekly Waypoint. If you liked it, feel free to grace me with one of those thumbs ups down beneath the video. If you have anything to say about anything I have said, feel free to say it in the box full of saying things, and I will read those things with my eyes, and then maybe say some things back. Subscribe for more content like this. In fact, if you like the Weekly Waypoint, this is the series that comes out. Like, this is the project I keep on top of all of the time. This is like the one binding thread throughout my entire channel. I have not missed a week, if you are curious, so far. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up now. I will see you in whatever I make next. Roll the outro. That was a big squeak from my chair. I need to fix that. It keeps popping up in my videos. Roll the damn outro. I can't stop talking.